Welcome to my channel Skyda. Today we are going to talk about Economic Survey 2022 Concerns and Decisions. Key challenges highlighted by Economic Survey 2022. Increased inflation. The survey notes that supply chain distributions and slow economic growth have contributed to an increase in inflation. The withdrawal of stimulus in developed economies in the upcoming fiscal is likely to affect capital flows into the country. The surge in energy, food, non-food commodities, and input prices, supply constraints, disruption of global supply chain, and rising freight costs across the globe stoked global inflation during the year 2021 to 22. Stimulus spending in developed economics and pent up demand during the pandemic would lead to imported inflation. Inflation due to increases in the prices of import in India. Volatility, volatility in capital. The economic survey noted that major economies had begun the process of withdrawing liquidity that was extended during the pandemic in the form of stimulus checks and relaxed monetary policy to stimulate an economic recovery. Higher inflation has led to a winding down of pandemic related stimulus. The likely withdrawal of liquidity by major central banks over the next year may also make global capital flows more volatile. The survey said nothing that this may adversely affect capital flows, putting pressure on India's exchange rate and slow economic growth. India's large and rising imports are also likely to put pressure on India's exchange rate is if capital flows to India increase as a result of withdrawal of stimulus is in developed countries. Employment. A lack of jobs also continues to be among the primary concerns for the Indian economy, with unemployment levels and labor force partition rates remaining worse than pre-pandemic levels. According to data from the PLFS, while the unemployment rate and labor force participation rate have improved somewhat from the start of the pandemic, they have still not recovered to pre-pandemic levels. Major suggestions the survey calls for emphasis on developing a supply side strategy to deal with the long-term unpredictability of the post-COVID world, emanating mainly from factors such as changes in consumer behavior, technological developments, geopoliticals, climate change, and their potentially unpredictable interactions. It calls for a diversified mix of sources of energy, of which fossil fuels are an important part, but simultaneously calls for focus on building storage for intermittent electricity generation from solar PV and wind farms to ensure on-demand energy supply. It asks the government to focus on the pace of the shift from conventional fossil fuel based sources and encourage R&D to ensure an effortless switch to renewable sources of energy. It also has called for a standardized framework for cross-border insolvency, as the insolvency and bankruptcy code at present does not have a standard instrument to restructure the firms involving cross border jurisdiction, leading to several issues. It proposes use of agile approach to policy making with 80 high frequency indicators in an environment of extreme uncertainty. The approach used in project management and technology development accesses outcomes in short iterations while constantly making incremental adjustments. The decision is based on the availability of a wealth of real-time data to take feedback-based decisions. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. See you. We will meet next video.